Mercedes's plans for the newest upgrade have been shifted to Monaco, and although this might be a bad idea, the team is still proceeding with it. From what we've been able to learn so far in 2023, the team struggled to understand the direction in which they should move, a question that is supposed to be answered after one of the most controversial and unpredictable races on the grid. But will Monaco provide a solid ground for Mercedes to exploit all of the advantages of their upgrade? Or will they have to wait for Barcelona, a one-week difference that could present a massive financial hurdle if things go wrong in Monaco? Before we dive deeper into how Monaco presents an additional challenge for Mercedes, we need to understand what these upgrades are and how they will boost Mercedes' chances to challenge Red Bull. Ever since the season started in Bahrain, Mercedes were presented with the harsh reality of not having a proper direction to move into, which was more or less caused by the entire concept of the W14. The fact that they were outperformed by Aston Martin in the first race of the season was an additional reality check for them, as they had nothing left to do but ditch everything they've been doing in the previous season and focus on an entirely new concept of the W14. For them to do this the right way, they needed the right people leading the entire project first, which is why James Allison was brought back as the CTO of the team. And Mike Elliott has admitted that this is not a role that suits him anymore. The sign of maturity has propelled all of our hopes that Mercedes knows what they're doing and is not afraid to show it off to the world. But with Allison's imprints all over Mercedes' newest upgrade package, it's safe to say that the W14 will gain a lot of speed and will have the potential to challenge Red Bull at some point in 2023. Will this happen in Monaco? Given the nature of the track, anything is possible here, but Mercedes may bring some additional upgrades further down the road to boost the performance of the W14 even more, if they're able to solidify the basis with the new upgrades in Monaco. This is something that Red Bull and Ferrari are fearing a lot, with the Maranello team also bringing a new sidepod design to Barcelona. Nonetheless, Mercedes has yet to prove that the new design actually works and that they can add more speed to their car, which so far seems like the only hope we have in terms of having a competitive season ahead of us. With the new front suspension, new side pod design and new floor, Mercedes is chasing something they've had overflowing in 2022 and are severely lacking now: rear downforce. Due to the new regulations, the car generates much more downforce through its floor and not the rear and front wings, which is why if you have too much of it, the car starts to bounce and porpoise. But if you have too little of it, the car just loses speed, struggles in the corners, and has increased drag. The latter element is present in the W14 right now, which is why the new floor and the new side pod design that Mercedes is bringing to Monaco are aimed at this goal, generating more downforce and redirecting the airflow from the side pods to the diffuser and to the rear wing. Tracks like Monaco are always risky to bring upgrades to, but if there is one thing that Monaco can provide to a huge extent that the other tracks can't for Mercedes, it's the downforce requirement. This is an aspect that Red Bull and Aston Martin have been brilliant at, and if you want to see if the upgrades are meant to bring more rear downforce work, then Monaco would be the perfect ground for that. Nonetheless, the track is very narrow and the place for mistakes is practically zero, so even though Mercedes has a lot of trust that Hamilton and Russell will have a flawless race, the risk of crashing and making an ever bigger dent in the budget cap still stands as it is, with this being the number one reason why the other teams are trying to escape Monaco and bring upgrades to whatever track is coming next. Mercedes is hoping to tackle yet another issue with their newest upgrades: the consistency of the car. It seems like the team fails to understand when the car performs well and when it acts like a wild rattlesnake, as Hamilton and Russell have explained it. With a new front suspension and a more stable mechanical and aero platform, Mercedes will definitely have an improvement in performance. But will it be enough to beat Red Bull and the rest of the pack? Before the Imola GP was cancelled, Russell spoke about the upgrades as well, saying that he's been testing them in the simulator, and while he wouldn't give away any more details, the results were very positive and definitely something that the team hoped would come from them. When talking about this matter, the Briton went on to add, "I have tested the upgrades, but the sim's not reality, so I won't give any secrets away. Don't expect the world to change at Imola. Red Bull are still going to be the quickest. I don't care where we are. We are chasing them and we want to beat them." Imola was also a very good choice for Mercedes given the fact that the track does have a high downforce requirement on the cars, but not as much as Monaco. One thing that Mercedes may not be able to obtain as real data is how the car will act with an open DRS and push to its maximum, since the lack of a traditional circuit will prevent the W14 and any other car on the grid from being pushed to their maximum and achieving high speeds. This is also very important because Mercedes was the slowest car on the grid in Baku with an open DRS, so it's definitely an issue the team would want to tackle ahead of the remainder of the season. Either it's the fact that Mercedes have a lot of trust in Russell and Hamilton, or they have a lot of spare parts in reserve, but either way, with Mercedes deciding that Monaco is the right circuit to bring upgrades to, it only goes to show one thing: they're not afraid of what comes next. This is a track where if you manage to receive the pole position or the front row and not mess up the tactics or suffer from reliability issues, then it's safe to say that you've already done 80% of the race. Overtaking is quite impossible, and last year Hamilton was able to feel that on his own skin as he struggled to get past Ocon, although he did prevail over the Frenchman due to the fact that the Alpine driver received a 5-second penalty. Mercedes do not have time to wait, and if they want to catch up to the grid, then they need to start as early as possible, because the rest of the teams are also bringing huge packages further down the line. Ferrari are going to change their sidepod design, and in Bahrain, Alonso said that the AMR23 will change 80% from what we're currently seeing. So Mercedes being caught on the back foot means only one thing for the team: the time to act is now. That's something that Andrew Chauvelin has spoken about, as he went on to add, "We are hoping to bring other updates later in the year. We do hope it is quicker, we hope it is better in terms of qualifying and race pace. We are looking to head off in a different development direction, one that we think gives us a better chance in the long term of being able to challenge for race wins and world championships." Although Hamilton said that in order for him to be competitive with the RB19, he'd need around 1 second per lap with the newest upgrade. Wolff shrugged off these requests and said that the car can barely even score half a second per lap better with what was supposed to be brought in Imola. According to the Austrian, there is a much bigger project going behind the newly designed W14, which is setting the right direction for the team to move in 2023 and 2024. Hamilton has also complained about another issue of the car, which is the narrow cockpit. And while that is yet to be addressed for the remainder of the season, the team had to be schooled by the 7-time world champion, as he said that they didn't listen to him when they should have, ditching the no-pod sidepod design. Nonetheless, the mistake has been accepted, and it's better to do that now rather than wait and see what the future holds for you with what you've already built. Monaco is just around the corner, and I sincerely hope that for the sake of the salvageable season that we want to witness ahead of us, Mercedes will be competitive yet again.